Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Batman Beyond review series. And today I am here once again to provide an audio commentary watch along for another favourite episode of mine. This time it's Blackout, featuring the first ever appearance of the sexy, very deadly and extremely dangerous villain, Ink. Now, Blackout is a very special episode for me. It's one of my all time favorites, and I remember this one very well. And I remember the first time that I saw this episode was on CITV Sunday morning. So you have a pretty good idea of how old I might be. I'm really showing my age just by referencing CITV. And this was very good. I still remember it like it was yesterday. It was a pretty big deal because for me, Ink was the first real villain that Terry McGinnis went up against. Now, obviously, at the end of Rebirth, they showed Blight. Now, they were obviously setting him up to be the big bad of the show, but we wouldn't really get to see Blight till a few episodes later. So, while we were waiting for the big showdown between the new Batman and Blight, Ink represented, as far as I was concerned, the first real deadly threat that Terry McGinnis had gone up against, because this episode, I kind of look at this as post Rebirth. This was Terry McGinnis's first full adventure as the new Batman. He's on his first ever mission with Bruce Wayne, guiding him and mentoring him and training him to be the new Batman. So going up against someone like Ink was a real challenge, both physically and emotionally. And out of all of the Ink episodes that we had on Batman Beyond, Blackout, Disappearing Ink, and Ink Queeling, Blackout for me is my all time favourite out of all of those episodes that I mentioned. And I would go on record to even say that Ink was definitely the most popular Batman Beyond villain. I can't think of many villains on the show who had more appearances than Ink did. Spellbinder came back a few times, as did Shriek. The Royal Flush Gang came back a few times, but Blight unfortunately didn't, which I'm a little bit bummed about because he was awesome. But I think Ink was definitely, as far as I was concerned, the main heavy hitter of the Batman Beyond Rogues Gallery. And she's one of the few villains who actually went toe to toe with both Batmen and almost defeated them. And not many Batman Beyond villains can say that they went up against both Batmen at the same time. So that for me put Ink on a much higher pedestal and a much higher level than all of the other Batman Beyond villains who appeared across 3 seasons. But she was a great villain, definitely up there with Blight, one of my all time favourites. And what I liked about Ink a lot was we didn't know much about her. She was shrouded in mystery. No one really knew much about her backstory or her origin. The most that we got was she was the result of a mutagenic failed experiment. Now, they did do an origin story for her in the more recent comic books about how she became Ink, and it's a very dark and emotional story, and one that I definitely recommend everyone check out. It will really shock you to your core about what Ink went through. And also, for those of you who have watched the show already, Ink would even go on to have a child as well. And that's something that does get addressed later on in the show. And you learn more about her child and her back in the recent comic books, which is quite horrific to say the very least. But this was definitely a fun episode. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I have a lot of fond memories of this one, and it's been a long time since I've seen this because I did a rewatch of the whole Batman Beyond series back in 2020, and when I got to this episode, it was still as epic as the day I first saw it. So I'm really looking forward to talking about this one and watching it at the same time. And before we go any further, a shout out to my good buddy, my partner in crime, the one and only Geeker Beyond himself, Chris. This edition is dedicated to him, who I know is a huge fan of this episode. It's one of his all time favourites. So this is for you, buddy. So, with that all said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk and watch Blackout. And here we are, the Batman Beyond intro, which 26 years later still rocks. Apathy, greed, corruption, power, hope. Love it. Absolutely love it. Never gets old hearing the Batman Beyond theme. Brilliant. So, as I said, while this intro is going on, this actually marks the first ever appearance of Ink. And the best way that I could describe Ink is she's kind of like a combination of Clayface meets Venom. Now, Clayface, of course, is this big hulking mud monster. Ink, on the other hand, was more like, no pun intended, Ink. But she was definitely in that shape shifting realm, like Clayface, but just different. So I think that makes her pretty unique as far as a character is concerned. And as I said, if you were to take Clayface and fuse with Venom, you would probably get something like Ink because she embodies the shape shifting aspects of Clayface, and she also embodies that sleekness of Venom. And the cool thing about Ink's abilities is whereas Clayface he can shapeshift into anyone, Ink was a little bit different because she can blend into darkness, into the shadows. She was very different to Clayface, and I think that's what makes her such a special Batman Beyond villain. And another thing about Ink as well, unlike Clayface, is Ink never really talked much. She would say a little bit of dialogue here and there, but for the most part, she was mainly silent. And she would occasionally make little noises when she would get hit, or she would scream in pure agony if she was getting electrocuted, or frozen, or water thrown at her. So that definitely added something to Ink because she wasn't really what you would call a chatterbox. And I think that's what made Ink even more special was she didn't say much, but she definitely kicked ass for sure. And here we are. Here is Foxtecker. And for those of you who are familiar with that name, Foxtecker, of course, is ran by Lucius Fox and his son, Lucius Fox Jr. Now, Lucius Fox, of course, is a dear friend slash colleague of Bruce Wayne, and he helped Bruce Wayne run Wayne Enterprises. It's funny that we get references about the foxes, but we don't actually see them in this episode. And here is the first appearance of Ink. Her theme is very futuristic, lots of weird, creepy sounds, and definitely adds a wisp of darkness to her character. So we see Ink is sabotaging Foxtecker, so she's more or less taking out the competition. Now, we learn that Ink is working for someone very powerful, and that powerful figure is, of course, Derek Powers. So his mission is have all of his competition taken out by corporate espionage. And who better to sabotage the competition than Ink? So just sneak in, crash the place, no one sees Ink come out, and there are no traces of any entry apart from equipment being destroyed. And that for me makes Ink twice as dangerous because Ink is not really the sort of person you can just pin down and say, do you know anything about this? Because you've got to find Ink first. So I think as far as a weapon for hire, Ink's the perfect person because no one is going to suspect Ink because they never saw her. Perfect villain as far as I'm concerned. So there is a shot of Wayne Powers and there is Bruce Wayne. So I believe this is the first time Bruce Wayne has been in Wayne Powers since the merger. And I think this is, as far as I'm concerned, the first on screen meeting of Bruce Wayne and Derek Powers. Oh, I do love that. Come in, Bruce. What a pleasant surprise. How are you holding up? With a cane. I do love that. That line never gets old. It's the perfect line for old Bruce Wayne. With a cane. I love it. So, obviously, Bruce Wayne is not here for a social call. He's here to tell Derek Powers one thing: keep your hands off Fox Tecker. I may not have the leverage to paper anymore, but I still have friends. The Foxes were a valuable part of this company for years. I'd hate to find out if Wayne Powers was involved in this attack. Bruce might be old, but he's not stupid. So he's obviously warning Derek Powers that he knows about the attacks. As I said before, in the Rebirth watch along, Derek Powers was definitely the Lex Luthor of the show. You knew he was a criminal, but you couldn't prove it. Kind of similar to the Kingpin. And we learn here that Lucius Fox Jr. was unfairly fired by Derek Powers after the merger. The McGinnis boy. I work for Bruce Wayne now. Oh, yes, I suppose with your father gone, that would make you the breadwinner. Oh, wow. Terry looked like he was going to deck Derek Powers. So, did you beat it out of him? Not exactly. But I do have some things to check out. Okay, to get some time on my own tonight? Don't count on it. I love it. And here is the lovely Ink, Miss Sexy herself. And there's her human form. He knows too much. Relax, he's just fishing. I'll send him some oranges this Christmas and he'll be happy. Here's what I want you to do tonight, my dear. Oh, I do love Ink. She's awesome. And here's date night for Terry and Dana. Watching hockey. Very high school. I do like it. There's Nelson Nash. Definitely the Flash Thompson of the show. 100%. I like what Dana says here. Is it wrong to root for the other team? No, not really. Not at all, Dana. Yeah. And the phone goes off, and there's Bruce Wayne, the cock blocker. Oh, he needs me. Sorry. It's not normal. You have no idea. So here is another Fox Techer company, and Inc. of course has been given another assignment by Mr. Powers to take out the Foxes. So obviously Derek Powers looks at them as competition, and pretty much what Inc. did earlier, just trash the place and essentially put them out of business. Wayne, you there? Go ahead. Is there any chance I could have a social life? Not in this business, you don't. Maybe it should be you up here instead of me. Oh, in an ideal world, we would love to have Bruce Wayne up there as Batman doing his thing, but you know, it is what it is. I think what's interesting about Batman Beyond, although Bruce Wayne still plays an important role in the whole Batman Beyond thing, it's weird not to see Bruce as the lead character because we've been so used to seeing it for so many years. To have essentially someone else in the lead and not Bruce, but Bruce is there guiding this new Batman was quite unique and it definitely worked. Just takes a bit of getting used to until we can stop Derek Powers, your Fox Ticker's guardian angel. And there's the ink stains. So ink does leave a trace of herself. McGinnis, get out of there! You'll hear that quite a lot in this show. I said get out of there now! Why? Look, to be fair, this is Terry's first proper mission as Batman, so he's still essentially a rookie. He's not a veteran like Bruce. And in Ink's first appearance, she dominates Terry. Sexy. And just manhandles him. No dialogue needed, no words traded. Arrive, kick ass, leave, repeat. Brilliant. I try to warn you. You're going to have to think on your feet. Look, you may be used to dealing with freaks and monsters, but I'm a little new at this. I don't even know what half of this stuff is. Way before your time. Love it. One thing about this episode in particular, as we'll get to the end, of course, as we move along, even though Terry is the new Batman, he still has a lot to learn. So it's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. And here is the first appearance of the new Batmobile, Batmobile Beyond. Now, obviously, everyone knows that the Batmobile is iconic, on wheels and all that stuff, but the Batmobile for Batman Beyond hooked up to the suits. So, whereas the old Batmobile, Bruce would actually drive it, steering wheel wise, Terry drives it with his hands. Like he just puts it into like a slot sort of device and actually controls it through his suit. So I think that's quite cool. It's certainly different because I don't know if I'd want to see the Batmobile 50 years in the future on wheels. It just looks a bit odd. So I think upgrading the Batmobile to like a hover ship, so to speak, so it's like half Batmobile, half Batwing. I think it's pretty cool. So Ink is doing more sabotaging, and Terry is on the case. Here we go. Yeah, it's kind of like the Batwing in some ways. You know, it flies, but it has no wheels, so it is kind of like the bat's wing in some respects. So ink doing more damage. That's pretty cool. A forklift without wheels. Interesting. And Terry takes out the forklift, and that's a cool shot of the Batmobile. I like the fact that it's black and red, like the suit. That is such an awesome contrast. And here comes Terry. Kapow! Splat. Here we go. So this is essentially round two. Pow, pow, pow. So Ink is really getting the better of this, but Terry's more prepared this time, I think. Get the old manhole. Boom! You're not a fast learner, are you? So that's Ink's little bit of dialogue there. For the manhole. Boom! Boom! Oh boy. Yep, so far Ink has dominated Terry, if you like that sort of thing. Oh boy. Uh, do 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 do. This is where Terry learns Ink's weakness. Oh, you don't like the water, do you? Do 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 do. Love it. Absolutely love it. Yep. Ink has definitely got the better of Terry here. So, after two confrontations, Ink is 2, Terry nil. Oh boy, poor Terry. But he got the better of her this time, I think. Now, Derek Powell's secretary, if you've read the Tyne comics, she would go on to become Vendetta. Oh, baby, there's Ink. And she tells him about the new Batman. Oh, he wore a costume, red and black. Batman. The Batman? What difference does it make? Ugh. So, after Derek Powers became Blight, he has to wear synthetic skin to cover up his true form. And every time he gets mad, his skin falls off and you see all the green glowing cracks. It's gross. I'm quite amazed that they got away with such a graphic looking scene for a cartoon. I think that's pretty amazing. I have to say, though, Batman Beyond was definitely a lot darker than Batman the Animated Series because some of the things that happen in Batman Beyond, you think, how did they get away with that? But I think that's what makes the show so cool because it's a darker world. It's not as optimistic as BTAS, but yeah, it's totally a different dynamic as far as I'm concerned. Oh, I do like that. Ink hiding in the black lips. Awesome. Definitely nailing the Venom and Clayface aspects. I'll see you when I'm done, which time I'll be back to my old self. I do like that. We don't see Blight that much. We get little hints of Blight, so obviously they're setting him up for a much bigger appearance. So I do like the fact that we get to see little glimpses of him, but we don't get a full appearance, not yet. We do get that eventually. So I think that's cool. They're just saving the best till last, as they say. And here comes probably my favourite scene of the entire episode. And as far as I can recall, after many years of watching Batman cartoons, this is the only time that I can think of that a battle took place in the Batcave. Here we go. Ink is here. That is so cool. Oh, Terry's just getting dominated. Come on, Terry. You can do better than this. And this part here is so sick. Open wide. Oh god. Cyber porn at its kinkiest, I suppose. Gives deep throats a whole new meaning. Ugh. Yuck. Just nasty. That is awesome. I love the fact that Bruce is wearing the Grey Ghost hat and goggles. Perhaps he should have put the whole thing on. That would have been amazing to see Bruce in the full Grey Ghost gear, wearing the hat and coat and goggles. I think that would have been awesome. What kept you? Sudden case of shyness. Brilliant. Now, this scene really highlights how prepared Bruce is for everything. Because, in the event of someone breaking into the Batcave, you have to be prepared. And Bruce takes prepare to the extreme, but you have to be. I like this. She's heading upstairs. Oh, brilliant. Wow, you are prepared. Someone's got a secret. And then you get the electrified doors. Just, wow. Wow, you are prepared. You don't know the half of it, Terry. She won't get up there either. There's a layer of solid steel. Brilliant. And Ink, in her first appearance, she owns Terry, breaks into the Batcave, trashes the Batcave, and dominates both Terry and Bruce. That right there is a serious, serious villain. And even shifts the giant penny. God damn. So, Harvey, what became of the giant penny? They let him keep it. I love that. Yeah. Oh boy. Ink's dangerous. And Ink gets electrocuted. So, as I said earlier, Ink has water and electricity as her weaknesses. So, here is Ink trashing the Harley Quinn costume. Poor Harley. No love for her. Trashes the Catwoman suit, Firefly suit, and even Penguin's costume. And here comes Ink now. And grabs Mr. Freeze's gun and freezes her cold. Oh my god. That's it. You're showing me everything. Well, one of the few times we actually see Bruce Wayne crack a smile. Love it. Excellent fight scene. And here is the first official appearance of Barbara Gordon, who is now the new commissioner, which was referenced at the end of Rebirth. I love this little line here. I figured you'd call. Word has it you wrangled a new errand boy. I never wrangled anyone. Every single one of you came to me. I love that. Maybe once someone should talk you out of it. Would it have worked with you? Now, here's an interesting moment coming up here. Terry leaves the remains of Ink outside Barbara's office, and there's this little look of disapproval from Barbara's face. It's quite clear she's not happy about the idea of a new Batman, and we wouldn't really learn about that until much later on in the show as to why Barbara disapproves of a new Batman. But it's interesting because Commissioner Jim Gordon and Bruce were very close and worked alongside each other for many, many years and were best friends. The dynamic between the new Batman and the new Commissioner Gordon is a shaky one, and you'll get to see a lot of that more as the show progresses. And that wraps up Blackout and my audio watch along commentary. Excellent episode. Absolutely loved this. Still one of my all time favourites all these years later. And still kicks ass and is as fresh as the day I first watched it. You know, it hasn't changed one bit. In fact, I still remember it like I watched it yesterday on CITV. It's really good. I really enjoyed this one a lot. And Ink came in, kicked ass, almost defeated both Batmen. What more can you ask for? And the cool thing about Ink is she does come back in another fantastic episode called Disappearing Ink, which we will get to later on. But for now, this was a great ride, no dull moments, and this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one a lot, and it's much better than I remembered. It's held up very well, and Blackout still to this day one of my all-time favourite Batman Beyond episodes. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on Blackouts? Did you enjoy it? What was your first impression of Ink? Did you like her? Do you think she was a good villain? And what was your favourite scene from Blackout? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Batman Beyond review series, where I'm going to be providing an audio commentary watch along for Golem. So make sure you don't miss that. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.